Can you guys hear me now? Dang, that took a while. I think that took a while. I think you guys can hear me now, correct? Okay. Let me type this in. Let's see. I got this thing blasting up on my...
guys hear me now?
Okay, there it is. I heard myself on here. So, looks like you guys can hear me. Let's try this whole thing again. I did this about an hour ago, tested the audio, well, 20 minutes ago, and then on another channel an hour ago. Looks like you guys can finally hear me. Let me do the whole intro over again. I'm going to have to cut out the first 3 minutes and 30 seconds. So, hey everybody, welcome to Head and Shoulders ATR, where we cover athletes' performances and otherwise that are head and shoulders above the rest. And it's been a while since I've been on the channel, Institute of Roy. What's up? Jordan Lee, thank you for letting me know that you guys can hear me now. Yeah, let me know about this audio, because I got a brand new microphone. I got the headphones in. I heard myself. I thought the audio was pushing out, but apparently it wasn't. It was going through another audio section. I got 2 different programs that I use for streaming, and I guess this just got caught up. But anyway, we got a couple of topics to cover today. So NCAAs are going on right now, and I'm not really going to cover that at the current moment, because it's not that it's insignificant. We're trying to just cover the professional athletes right now for the most part. Now, we got Shelly-Ann's Jamaica versus Sha'Carri's USA, and I picked those 2 because they're the most dominant force in the 100, not to excuse anything in the 200, and not to even ignore Elaine Thompson-Herah's dominance when it comes to the last 2 Olympics, where she's being able to get the double. So, with that being said, Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce has the longest history and the most consistent when it comes down to this. So, I'm looking at her as in the same place as where we were seeing Usain Bolt as far as the 100 at least. Are we going to see the same thing happen to Team Jamaica when Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce retires? That's the number one question that I have here. Right? Let's make sure. Okay, I'm still coming through. So are we going to see the same thing that we saw the last time with Team Jamaica when Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce retires? Because on the men's side, as soon as Usain Bolt retired, the men cannot seem to get together to get a medal when it comes to the 100 or the 200, actually. On those open events, they cannot seem to get a medal, a win, a breather at anything. So we got a couple of 4th places where it comes to Team Jamaica, but as far as us in the USA, it swept a couple of times. So just like on the Jamaican women's side, Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce has dominated so much that it would appear that she's kind of hogged the wins. And that's no offense to anybody else. You kind of hog the wins away from somebody else because you're that good. But what does it leave there right now? Because, now it's saying that I'm lagging. What does it leave for everybody else to get a win in if you're taking up all the wins? You get what I'm saying? And then also, where it comes down to Team Jamaica, the best athletes, that means Shericka Jackson, Elaine Thompson-Herah, and Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce, they're not necessarily coming out right now. Okay, yeah, I am being heard. On my side, it's looking like it's lagging, but it's coming through for you guys. So let me just stop being distracted by that. So that's the topic that we have here to discuss. Also, we have a topic to discuss right now when it comes out to marketing the sport. Because right now, track and field, everybody knows this. So many athletes are talking about marketing the sport, but I think the problem is that it's marketed a 2-pronged approach, where it's international instead of localized, and that is the problem. So let's bring this up right here. When it comes down to the women's 100 meters, one thing I noticed the other day, because you guys knew I took a favor into her, Brianna Williams, she is nowhere near as fast, and unfortunately, she has not been competing as well this season. She is running 11 highs. Unfortunately, she is running 11 highs. Many of the athletes in the years past, they are not being able to hold up. The staying power right now is with the big 3 in Jamaica. The unfortunate thing about that is when you got 2 of the big 3 that are not performing as well, Shericka Jackson has put on a little bit of muscle mass, and if she's not used to that muscle weight, that may weigh her down and slow her down. We're going to see as that progresses, but she is looking very, very sloppy as it is right now. Now, I can't look at this as the same old Jamaica that we saw a decade and a half ago with Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce and the likes, right? Even with Usatf Powell. You know why we cannot look at that as the same Team Jamaica? All of the athletes are really starting to branch out from Coach Francis, even though technically Shericka Jackson is working with one of the Francises right now, right? But we can't look at them and assume that Jamaica is just going to click and pull it together toward later in the season. And the reason being is because everybody's branching out to different coaches now. Coach Francis had his time to shine. He had several Olympians that has gotten golds and other medals, right? And we already know who they are. One of them's on the screen now. But now that everybody switched to different camps, there's going to be an adjustment period. And we don't know how that result is going to be. So right now, I am not going to assume that Team Jamaica is just going to pull a Hail Mary out of anywhere if we don't see them at least performing somewhat decent. Because Shericka Jackson doesn't normally perform like this at this time of the season. Okay, that's the difference too. Shericka Jackson does not perform where she's coming through with these sluggish times. She's coming through and is kind of, all over the place in form. Even though she did a little bit faster this previous weekend, she's not where she needs to be. And especially in her star event, the 200, if she's not there in the 200, what is really going on? That's my question. Okay, you guys hear the tapping in the background? That is my rabbit. So that is not me typing. Just letting you guys know, you're hearing the claws of my rabbit on the floor. So anyway, that just threw me off. Because I see my mic is that good. We're hearing things from the other. She's not even next to me. She's a whole room and a half over. But anyway, with that being said, Shericka Jackson, you said no. Okay, I get you. So Shericka Jackson, she's in trouble. Elaine Thompson, hurrah, is in trouble. And we got leading Team USA right now is Brianna Liston. Obviously, when we get our collegiate athletes, they're going to do well. We're going to see how that goes. Sha'Carri Richardson has not really laid anything a bad foot down when it comes to the 100. Yeah, getting a nips in the 2. Okay, cool. But she's still looking pretty good in the 2. So we're going to start with Sha'Carri Richardson right now because she's actually putting down some of the results so far this season. Let's look at her results right now. And then we're going to get to Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce because she's posting up some of her workouts on Instagram and everything like that so we can see what she's doing. And I trust the process that she's doing right there. And really, let me be honest. Actually, let me address Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce right now. Let me take this off of the screen. Take this off of the screen and put us back to the title one. Okay, when it comes down to Shelly-Ann, I trust what she's doing. She's got too long of a track record. She's got too much experience in the sport to really look at her and say she messes up. Even when she's injured, even when she's dealing with stuff, even look last year, look at the Olympics in Rio. She's able to pull through with a medal. If she doesn't get a win, I'm pretty confident that she's going to pull through with a medal, right? But let's just say that she doesn't pull through with that. Actually, I'm fine, right? She's already proven herself. She's dominant. She's a legend in the sport. If she goes out and she's not able to get anything, I'm actually fine. I wouldn't be the happiest because I would personally like to see Shelly-Ann either win or get a medal, right? Just like I would like to see Sha'Carri win or get a medal. So I got the dual views from that. I want to see Shelly-Ann because I like Shelly-Ann as an athlete over the years and she's dominant, and I want to see dominant people dominate. But then at the same time, I want to see Sha'Carri for multiple reasons. I want to see dominant people dominate. She hasn't been there as long. She's Team USA. So I want to see both of those from those two perspectives. But if Shelly-Ann does not come through with a medal, she's proven herself. There's nothing wrong with that. But I would prefer for her to come through with either a win or a medal. As I know when Veronica Campbell-Brown was trying, she went out in tears. I don't want to see the same thing for a Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce if I could control anything, which I do not. All right. Now, when it comes down back to this, Let's go to Sha'Carri Richardson and talk about some of her performances that she's done so far. So in the 200, we're not really going to expect her to be the most blazing when it comes to the 200. But she's looking pretty good as far as the form. She went to China. She did what she needed to do. She got a second place in China, got nipped. People were hyping it up and saying, oh, this athlete here. And I even said, I don't even know if we're going to see that athlete at the end of the season. Because sometimes that happens. You know, a rando athlete comes up, and not rando for their, no disrespect to them, for their local area. But a rando athlete comes up and beats somebody that's a champion. Okay, it happens. Yeah, everybody has an off day. That can happen. And especially in her event that's not her premier event. Her premier event is the 100. You might say, hey, it might be a little bit off if it were the 100, but it's not. That was her running the 2. Now, when it comes down to the 100, she's laid one blessed step in the 100, and she got a blessed win in the 100. And I find it very ironic that this is the same meet that she competed in before and got glazed to the back. Only, 2 seasons, 3 seasons later, the same meet that she finished in last, and Elaine won. Elaine is now finishing in the back, not being able to break 11, and she's first. I found that very, very interesting, and I was like, wow. I would not be surprised if people had some comments about that, right? When I saw that. Now, Sha'Carri Richardson, I almost got her pegged down for a win. I'm going to see what Shelly-Ann does. I'm going to see what Elaine does when it comes down to the championships. I am really not confident right now in Elaine. I am not confident whatsoever. She has the tendency to come through toward at a latter time as a last minute. Let's scroll all the way down to where Elaine is on this ranking right here. We got to go to the 11, almost 11, 2s, 3s. I forget the exact time. Actually, let me do it this way. Let's type that in. Okay. I guess we're not getting an Elaine on here. Wait a minute. She's not on the ranking anymore? Well, I got to type her in. I guess the NCAA athletes had knocked her off the list because I know she was up there in the 30s. So we're just going to type Elaine's name right here. Wait for her to pop up and bring her here. All right. Whenever you want to do it, Internet. Okay, here we go. So Elaine's results here. She should be at 11-3. Yep, there we are. She got knocked off that top list. And here it is. She came out, only ran one event this year. Obviously, she knows what she's doing in practice. She had some expectations coming out to the meet. She did not look that good. She kind of shut it down early. Obviously, when somebody's kind of getting glazed up right there. Yeah, you're right. She did run an 11-3 flat. And when somebody's getting glazed up that bad in a race, they just kind of are like, at this point, I've run much faster. I did what I could do, and I'm going to just roll it in. That's the same thing that Sha'Carri did at the same meet a few years ago. Nothing wrong with that. You just know you got beat. You kind of submit to it and everything like that. But here's the problem. Yeah, it's technically almost a month out from the Jamaican championships, but that's not good enough. Now, people instantly said that she wasn't going to make it through the rounds at the Jamaican championships. And I don't know if I'm that confident to say that she wouldn't make it through. But you got a lot of collegiate athletes, and they made it through their rounds, and they're running pretty good. So if you get, right now, Shelly-Ann is almost a for sure. We got to see what she does, though. A for sure making it through. She's going to punch her ticket. She tends to do well. Okay, great. If that's one spot right there, and we just say, Shelly-Ann, no matter where she finishes, she's going to get a spot. Boom. That's one. Okay, now it comes down to 2 more spots. I think Brianna Liston has an extremely high chance of making it through. That just leaves now. That just depends. Can she hold the peak from the NCAA championships and all of the what's going on now, right? Can she hold that through, or can she hold through her competition that she's going through right now until another month, another 3 or 4 weeks? Can she hold that through? That's going to be the question. Now, where does that leave everybody else? You got Shericka Jackson. I think she might be able to pull something through. I think the thing that happens to Elaine right now is that she got a high chance of not making it through, but I can't say that she won't. Why? Because we're going to go with seniority, that she has the experience to know how to make it through rounds. I used to think that somebody having experience making it through some of these championships didn't mean a big deal. But after listening to Usatf Powell a few years back, and he was saying that he just never got over that one false start that he had at the championships, and that really pretty much haunted him for the rest of his career. That made me realize the same thing happened to me when I was trying to qualify for state. I'm running at all of these other meets. I got the conference meet and all of those things, and they just felt like regular meets. But my mind was so focused on state that even the conference championship, which if you could do well in our conference in the events that I was running, you pretty much could do well at state. That's how competitive it was in the events that I ran in the 800 and so on. So that's basically what you would do well there. If I was hyping up the sectional meet to qualify for state, I can imagine that some of these athletes on a national level would be looking at their nationals like, I need to make the Olympics. And so maybe it's not even the Olympics, the championships itself. It's for the, can I qualify to the next level? Yeah, I did the NCAA championships. Yeah, I did this Pac-12. I did this here, the SEC champs. But this is different. And if that goes into play, and Elaine has that experience of time and time and time again going into there, that can actually still lead to her winning. Just like where we see at the Olympics, somebody that would be technically faster, and they lose. And sometimes it's the mind games there. Sometimes the person does not have it on the day, but other times, oftentimes, it's the experience that somebody has. I used to think when I was growing up, man, experience didn't mean anything. Yeah, it means a lot more. Now, if somebody's just that much faster than you, you're not really going to be able to compete with that. But right now, we're going to have a lot of athletes. What do you guys think about Crystal Slowly? I want to hear some people here about that. And if you're going to come here after the live, leave that in the comment section below. I have very little words on her at the current moment. Very, very little words. I want to hear you guys' thoughts right there. I have no absolute place. I'm not even going to lie with that. So I'm going to let you guys leave that in the comment section below. I can see her technically doing something at the championships, but absolutely no words right now on her. So with that being said, Elaine's got a lot of work to do because several of these athletes, they're going to be in sub-11 shape when it comes to the championships. I think Elaine's going to have to run a 10-8 mid to be safe. 10-8 high might make it. And if we saw in years past some of the Jamaican championships, the 10-9 or something could make it. It just depends on the wind of the day and the environment. But if we got a tailwind, right, and the environment is actually pretty good, the weather's good and everything like that, nice and warm, it just depends on, I did not check the schedule if they're running it during the evening or if they do it one of these times during the morning. But assuming it is running during the evening like it is most of the time, then if the weather's good, winds to your back, you might have to, if you want to be safe, 10-8 mid to make it out. And I'm not sure that Elaine is going to be at that level. That is a huge drop from where she is, and she looks like she was putting in her full effort. Yeah, she might have given up toward the end. That's still, I think, worth an 11-2 low, an 11-1 high if she just went all the way through. At that effort, at that time, now she, like I said, she has almost a month to prepare. That's enough time. People can get ready in 3 weeks. If you're already a fit athlete, you can get ready for a race in 3 weeks. But I'm not sure. Now, what I want to say here is, what do you guys think about Team USA getting 2 of those medal spots? Julian Alfred, I think she's got a good spot at getting a medal here. But again, I think that Team USA has a spot, has a chance for getting 2 medals. I don't trust it. It's not a high chance. I don't trust it because Aaliyah Hobbs does what Aaliyah Hobbs does. She hurts herself a couple of times. She has the potential to run a lot faster. She can run a lot faster, but then something happens. I'm not sure if she's going to be able to make it through the rounds there, but I think Aaliyah Hobbs has a huge spot, a huge chance of doing that. Melissa Jefferson, maybe so, maybe not. We're going to see because she tends to be in shape during this time of the season. But I'm going to see what is in her legs. But what do you guys think about Team USA snatching 2 of those medals when it comes down to the 100? And then also in the 200, I'm thinking Team USA's just got this thing wrapped up. Let's switch over to the 2 real quick. As far as the current rankings, I think Team USA's pretty much got this wrapped up. There might be a surprise in there. Liston might be able to pull something. Dina Asher-Smith, we're going to see how she adjusts to her new coach. I am liking some of the performances that I see from her now, but I'm not sure how she's adjusting to the new coach. That's to be said. Dina Asher-Smith, typically under her old coach, tends to get ready toward the end of the season. About who she's working with now, how she adjusts to the workouts, not because the coach is bad, the coach is fine, but how she adjusts to the workouts. We're going to see how that goes. But I think Team USA is looking good in that 200. It is a very competitive, hot 200 for Team USA. We're looking at that right now. So that's all the questions I got there. You said, Elaine, let me see some of the comments. I'm now just seeing them. I think you dropped them a little while ago. Elaine staying with Osborne would have been her best bet in my opinion. Yes, I think so too. And then you said, I think USA will get 1 medal, but I got Shelly for gold. Okay, that's fair. I want to see what Shelly-Ann does. So far, I'm for a historical perspective, I like to see her go out on gold. Like if she goes out on gold and then retires, man, it's like nobody was able to beat me in my last race. Hey, that would be fantastic. And you said Alfred looks really good. It's more of her running relaxed. If she runs relaxed, then she can make something shake. Yeah, it's very, very competitive when it comes down to this 1 and the 2. Now, Alfred's looking good on both of them. So if she can't get that 1, I'm going to peg her up for that 200. But again, they're kind of wide open because Shericka Jackson is not really performing what she should do. I'm looking at this like, hey, this is Gabby Thomas's goal to get. If Shericka Jackson ain't there, this is either Gabby Thomas or Dina Asher-Smith as far as a historical perspective of the ones that got the speed to be able to break down and win something this year. I'm looking at it like that. And if Shelly-Ann is really on fire, ain't nobody about to beat her. If Shericka Jackson's not there and Shelly-Ann is on fire, she's about to glaze them on that curve when it comes to that 200 because she got that newfound speed endurance. And then she's taking that gold away. That's what I'm looking at. But this could be Dina Asher-Smith's year to reclaim that 200-meter title win. As far as that. Because Shericka Jackson is looking very shaky. Quite literally. She was shaking all through her last 200. She ran it faster. Nobody's looking at extremely fast times when it comes down to that. But that's where that is. And you know, a funny thing here is, man, Sydney McLaughlin, Lavrone, she kind of got the range here. She's kind of got the range and reminded me of, what's her name from the Netherlands on the distance side, being able to run an 800 and then a half marathon and then get 3 medals in 3 different events on the distance side. She's got range where she could run the open 4, she could run the open 2, she could run the 400 hurdles, right? And then be competitive and do something about it. If she steps in this 200 in that that 200 field's not there. Now I know she already declared that she's doing the 400-meter hurdles, and I think that would be her best bet if she just wants to make sure that she's all the way there. But if she steps in one of these and does a Shanae Miller-Wevo, and she just, you know, tries out a few of the rounds in the 200 like Miller-Wevo did in 2021. Remember when she made it to the finals, she didn't even try. I think she kind of got out, and then she realized that she just got blazed by the rest of the field, and then she just wrapped it up and kind of just brought it in and said, let me focus on my 400. And then you said, as far as the 200, I think it's Gabby's year. Brittany Brown isn't messing around. And I believe Long from Ole Miss will snatch a spot. Yeah. Mackenzie Long. Yep. And then, let me see. But referring to trials. Yeah. But top contenders I have for the 200 is Gabby, Brittany, Daryl, Dina. Sharika isn't as sharp, but I have to see more from her. Yeah. Sharika Jackson, if she can, it's that weight that she's got on her. And I mean, everybody everywhere was saying it. You could see that. And then I actually had a picture. If you go to her profile, let me see if I could do that now. Let me go back here. If you go to her profile, you see her from 2019. And I'm like, yeah, she looks slim. She ran an 11. Yeah, here it is. Sharika Jackson right here. She looks very slim. You see that right here. But she's been, each year, she's been getting bigger and bigger. Now, obviously, she's going to be more slim and slender because of 400. You don't need to be like a boxcar or real extremely muscular. Yeah, you got some people, but it depends on your height, right? As far as the 400, because it requires more aerobic capacity and just more oxygen, your body is typically going to form to the event. If she started doing the 800, she'll be even slimmer than where she was here. But as far as her doing the 100, 200, I think her body is more fit for the one as far as how it looks now. But she hasn't adjusted very well for that. I think what she's done now, if it doesn't work now, we might see her very, very quick next year. But this is the Olympic year. You got most of the eyes on the sport right now. This would be a better time for her to have activated her speed. I don't know what her coach is doing with her. I don't know what they're doing. They kind of overdosed on muscles at the current moment. It looks like it. But we're going to see what happens. I'm not very confident that she's going to get a win this year. But like you said, I agree with you. This is Gabby. For my opinion, it's Gabby or Dina. One of those two, they're going to come and snatch away the win. I think it would be very fitting for Dina to win, but I have my favorite on Gabby. But then, just like you said, Mackenzie Long, as far as the USA trials, that would be a good call for that. And Brittany Brown, she's kind of always there, so I think she's a reliable one to call too. I wonder, will Sha'Carri actually do the 200 at the trials and then snatch one of those spots? It's very competitive in the 200, and she's not as competitive, but she's no slouch. She can still run a 22 low, which means she still got the capability of breaking 22. So we're going to see what happens. You said Sydney could win the heptathlon if she took it seriously. That would be very interesting. Brendan, what's up? Glad to be back. This is kind of like the hobby thing right now, so I'm giving it the time and attention that at least like an hour a day that I'm looking at this right now. So I'm not at the full force that I was a few years ago, just because I kind of moved on and did some other things. But if I ever get that energy back, or somebody partners up with me on the channel, definitely will be coming back full force. They probably got to do more of the research than I would, and I'll stick to more of the analysis and commentary on the events. I was trying to get somebody, there's a former Olympian from Jamaica that is running masters in the US. I think I'll maybe have him on here and commentate on. We were discussing, I discussed with him. We were talking for 3 hours, multiple times on the phone. So we'll see what he is going to say with that. I didn't ask him to come on yet, but a lot of the thoughts here, they're very different from mine. I'll say that. So, but that still would be a welcome voice to have somebody else on here. So you guys let me know if you guys want to see somebody brought on to the channel, because at least it will be more posts up here, it'll be more consistency, and we'll have something here. Now I want to talk about a different we're going to change gears right here. Like I said, the underlying thing right here, aside from all of this. So my friend and I noticed something when it came down to what Jamaica is doing. Because I was like, hey, look, Jamaica looks like they're going to dominate for the next foreseeable few years. And he said, nah, I don't see it. Now, I started to see what he saw. And he was right with Sha'Carri winning before the Paris Olympics. I was wrong on that one. I was right on most of the other things that I said, but I was wrong on that one. Now, what I'm seeing here is a problem with Team Jamaica is that the top stars, when they become the top stars, they're kind of pulling the Sydney McLaughlin. But that's because of her coach, I think. Not because of her. Her coach, Bobby Kersey, kind of hides his athletes a lot. They don't really compete that much. He puts them out the minimum that they need to do, and then boom, they're just gone. But as far as the athletes in Jamaica, when they reach the top spot, remember when Justin Gatlin said he thought he could beat Usain Bolt, but he just didn't get enough times to compete against him. It's like the chicken and egg thing now. The top Jamaican athletes, in my opinion, would need to compete against the local Jamaicans a lot more so that they can have the experience of racing somebody very quick in a homegrown land, so that when they start racing internationally, there's going to be like a figurative baton passed from one generation to another one. Because right now, the common denominator between what Jamaica was doing before and doing now is Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce. It's looking like if she leaves, the medals are gone. Kind of like Usain Bolt. Usain Bolt dominated for so long and was leading the team like a trumpet. He was leading the band. And then he's gone, the medals are gone. That's where it's looking like right now. See, Team USA, while it does backfire some of the times, they're racing each other time and time again. Look at Noah Lyles. He's showing up to wherever, whoever. He's going down to Jamaica. Yeah, he got second. Yeah, he got nipped. Okay, cool. He's showing up. He's ready to compete. He wanted to compete against Fred Curley. And then I remember Fred Curley a few years ago said, hey, I'll compete against you, but it's got to be money on the line. And I, on the one hand, I'm like, yeah. But on the other one, I'm like, eh. But yes, money needs to be a priority when it comes down to track and field. But I'm looking at Noah Lyles like kind of like a Michael Jordan. He's about to play a pickup game against people that are not in the NBA, even though he's risking injuring himself. Now, Noah Lyles may not be to that level where he's just going to race somebody down the street or something like that, but who knows? But he's ready and willing to compete against whoever. That is kind of like what we used to see with track and field athletes when they depended more on the sport for money versus now they got sponsors and social media. So I think that still needs to happen. There has to be some kind of minimal amount of races that they should do throughout the year. Yeah, they may not be ready at that point, but the younger athletes need to get experience. Because right now, the younger athletes, they're in the NCAAs, and they're getting that experience against those fast collegiate athletes. That's going to be good, and that is still a good ground for them. But what happens if and when some of the athletes decide not to want to go to NCAAs, like some of them are staying at home in Jamaica? They need to be able to compete against fast athletes. And right now, all of the other ones are like, hey, we're keeping it to ourselves. Even in the years past, they weren't racing that much. Shericka Jackson probably raced the most out of between Elaine and Shelly-Ann after a certain amount of time. Shericka Jackson probably raced more than either one of them. You said it reminds me of when Elaine came onto the scene. You said Crystal Slowly is Frano's next project. She's looking really good. Oh, okay. So that's where it is. Yeah, if it's Coach Francis, yeah, I'm trusting it, because even athletes that he kicked out of his training camp and they came back and ran personal bests. He said, okay, you didn't learn your lesson, you come back. See, the thing is, he knows what he's doing. People may not like his attitude after a while. They get wherever they get, he brings them to the next level, and then they're not liking him. Look, the way I'm looking at this is, hey, this coach is business. Whatever I might personally feel on him, it's whatever. But I guess after you win for a while, you may not necessarily like that, or you had the attention for a while, and then maybe you take it personally, because that's what, some of the rumors were when it came with his previous athletes and whatnot. And it kind of makes sense. It's like, hey, I got to keep developing the young talent. Now you're at the middle of your career. Now I can maintain you and focus on the young talent. And some athletes were not happy with that. So maybe that was a little bit of what's going on. That's just me looking from the outside in. Only they will know. And that's only from a couple of the interviews. Now, here's the last subject that I want to talk about, which I talked about at the beginning. Now, track and field isn't really being seen that much, and I gotta admit, this is piss poor ass crap that is going on right now, because I tried to search for the USA Championships, and if you do not search the correct exact thing, you can do this with any other sport. You can search something almost there, but not right. If you don't search good enough with the USA Championships, you can't find it. Same thing with Jamaica. You cannot find it in the search results. They don't have enough of whatever their search engine optimization, and that's what I specialize in. There are some websites, I'm not going to mention it here, not going to co-promote that at all, but there are some websites that I've written for, and I wrote it back in 2017, 2019. And you can still find search results on those articles. Every once in a while, they're updated with some of the more common and recent terms that are being used, but articles that were written and minimal editing are still being ranked on the top page. Yeah, they fluctuate from, they used to be number 1. Now they're at like number 3 or 4 or 5. But on the top page, if I don't search the exact term for USA Championships, the trials, actually, I had to type in trials, because it'll bring up the World Championships. It'll bring up Budapest. It'll bring up all this other stuff. I had to type in trials. I tried several different ways, and that's just pretty sad. So what I got to say is that, and here's an article that we're looking at, and this was back in May. And I'm going to hit this every week because this is important. And I like what Noah Lau said. And unfortunately, I think I should have kept up with the channel a little bit more, because that would have brought in a lot of viewers, especially the ones that were not really track and field people. I remember that with people that were commenting here. They weren't track and field people, but I made it entertaining enough for them to actually start watching the sport and to come in. That made me feel good, because I started the channel because I thought watching the sport is pretty damn boring. I've said it time and time again that the way that they hype it up is boring. The races might be entertaining, but it's so boring. It's boring because you got to try really hard to find these meets. That means the only people that will really do that, let's be honest, are the die-hard fans. And even some of them will not, and some of you guys, because some of you guys are diehards, even some of you guys will not even go that hard, because honestly, some of these meets you won't even know that you're not seeing them, because you just don't know what to look for. Many people did not know there was a championship after the Olympics in 2021. I brought it to their attention that the Diamond League was there. Oh, and by the way, that's not even the last track meet. Oh, really? There's other track meets? Yeah. You got the Continental Tour. And while that's not a championship league, it's just a league or something that the athletes can compete in for prize money. Yeah, those were still going on another 2 or 3 weeks after the Diamond League championships. Everything is so disjointed and confusing. This is where it's not coming through. So if I come back to this seriously, I'm going to try to curate the meets that I talk about, curate the athletes that I talk about, curate what type of thing. I heard from my friend, because I got to be honest, I was not watching Ray's channel or anything like that. When I'm out, I'm out. I don't watch anybody else's stuff, but he was telling me that he was doing a ranking list and he was including only pros. I said, I like that. That's very good. On my ranking list, I would still include collegiate athletes, because if they compete at the pro level, when they're outside the NCAA, then I got to include them. If they're going to go to the Olympics or World Championships, that's where I would include them. And I would include them on my ranking. Remember, I had bronze, silver, gold, black, and platinum and everything like that. I think I'll bring that back. But anyway, so Sydney McLaughlin said that there isn't enough money in the sport. So let's look at it like this. She said right here. She said right here. And this was the interview here. It had Michael Johnson and whatnot. Oh, not Michael Johnson, but yeah. So we got it here. She said, I feel like we don't do a good job marketing ourselves. We need people to actually be able to see our sport and not have to pay all the time to watch subscriptions online. That's just my opinion. I think that Netflix documentaries is going to be huge. I think there is not enough money in our sport to push it the way we really want to. Now, I got a couple of things to say with this because I do this all the time. Outside of this channel, I have a 2-hour coaching that I charge $40,000 for somebody to hire me for 2 hours. Now, for the people it's not for, they can't afford it. Other people, they might ridicule it. I really don't pay attention to them if they do. So if they do, they say, oh, wow, this is that much. What are you doing for $40,000? I just look at them. Matter of fact, I don't even hear them. I remember one person said something like that, and I said, you can argue with yourself, dude. And I just kept it moving. And then what do you know? The guy comes back to me 2-3 weeks after that and start trying to ask some questions. I'm not about to do it. But that's how it is. Okay, I put that information out there for the people that are for that. I got people without having to market, by the way. All I did was put it out, do my normal posts, put it out, I did market, but not selling. Put it out, do my normal posts, and people come to me. What's happening with track and field right now is she pointed out something correct. The sport itself is not being marketed correctly. It does not need to have the, quote, money to do that necessarily. She can do that, and people can do that for a low price or essentially free. I would be one of the people marketing, right? Because if I'm talking about the sport, and I got my monetization off at the current moment, if I'm talking about the sport, then that's marketing for the sport. The problem here is that where you get FlowTac right now, FlowTac, they're coming here and they're going to up the fees. Now, I understand why FlowTac would have $29.99 monthly versus the $5.99 for NBC Universal. And here, I want to explain it to people to be fair to FlowTac, right? They got to do it because they're a smaller company. So what they're looking at is they're a smaller company. They don't have the same amount of pull and the ability that NBC Universal does. NBC Universal has so many other things that they can charge $5.99. But you got to look at it for what it is. So to be fair, I'm not going to compare them necessarily to each other. What I am going to say is what type of value as far as specifically for track and field will you get from FlowTac? And what they have shown in the past is absolutely negative value, not less value, negative value. Their commentary isn't that very good. Nobody's really paying attention to them. So now they're going to be a gatekeeper and force people to pay attention to them. And maybe it will work and maybe it doesn't. Just like NBC, they were the gatekeepers there. Hey, whoever has the money, okay, cool. But they're going to have the people coming to them because their commentary puts people to freaking sleep. Who wants to go over to FlowTrack, listen to them be wrong 99% of the time? Over exaggeration, of course, but listen to them be wrong. Listen to them, I don't know, whatever they're doing. Listen to them talk about things that are just what's interesting about the field. Not field events, but the field. They're talking about the field, the building, the everything like that. Nobody cares. We want to see fast people. We want to see matchups. We want to see Noah Lyles versus Fred Curley. We want to see Noah Lyles versus everybody else that's out there. And they're not going to do that very well. Now, they all came down on this. They said, we got some cold ass YouTube. This is what Noah Lyles said, or was it Fred Curley? I don't know. Oh, no, this is Fred Curley. We got some cold ass YouTube in the track and field community that can promote the sports from high school all the way to professional. They got podcast, a platform to elevate their sport to higher heights. Fred Curley fumed on X, which is similar to what McLaughlin Levrone opined. Yes. Now, in the past, Noah Lyles, he did say, look, if you want to pursue a career in track and field, you basically are like in a dying sport. Now, this is the reason why he's looking at it as a dying sport. And this is something that I want to get to you guys, because I always talk about business and life. And this is what you guys can know from a personal marketing perspective. If I'm able to market out and get people to hire me at $40,000, you guys can market out whatever products you guys are trying to do. All right. You guys can market out the products that you guys are trying to do. That means track and field can do the same freaking thing. I didn't pay a lick for marketing. I'm using just the social media platforms, just the same as everybody else. The problem with track and field is, number one, it is purposely, man, I was in a USATF Masters group. I'm going to call them out straight up like that. I was in a USATF Masters group, and for the last few weeks, once a week, I think you know what, I might pull it up, but I'm not. Once a week, I'm posting up, hey, in order to sprint fast for a 100 and 200 meter athlete, you actually got to sprint in practice. You got to do 20s and 30 flies, not this high volume thing that all of you guys are talking about. You're not like the professional athletes where some of you guys got to go through a bunch of rounds like they do. And yes, at the Worlds and at Nationals or something like that, you do have to have some kind of rounds with that, to be fair, but not to the point where people got to be doing some mileage or anything like that. You know what happened? These are people that are on the board for USATF, by the way. Some of them. I got ridiculed, called an idiot, cursed out at, and now the rules of the group on Facebook are that people aren't supposed to be doing that. Now, these are Masters record holders doing that, but some of the board members kind of defended them and said, hey, you're being hostile here. I wasn't. If this is what they're saying because I said, hey, if you're not training like this, you're not doing it right. And just because a couple of them got some high volume, because at Masters, how many 60-year-olds are going to show up all the time? Sometimes there are no 60-year-olds that'll show up, but one or two. At the international level, yeah, they got some. Some of them are world champions. I'm not going to take it away from them, but tell that to Noah Lyles. Hey, Noah Lyles, why don't you start running some 600s and 800s and see what that reaction is going to do. We got these types of people on the board. This is where track and field is a dying sport. It's not track and field. It's USATF that's dying, not track and field. Let's get that one right. If USATF will move their ass out the way, then we might have something more entertaining. If World Athletics will say, you know what, we're going to fund, and they're probably nervous to do this, we're going to fund a competitor league to USATF, because USATF is an organization. Let's not forget, it's not a sport of track. It's an organization. And just like any other organization, we need to have something equivalent to NBA, NFL, NHL, not US soccer, but some of those organizations. Because right now, Team USA handled the Olympics. We're fine with you handling the Olympics. Let the big boys handle the league. Because right now, there is no league. Now, they're trying to do that when it comes down to World Athletics. What is this thing called? Guys, what's that called? The Ultimate or something like that? And I think right now, it's too internationalized for athletes to really make real money. I showed you guys on a video last weekend that there are billions of dollars in this. And if I ever got seriously into it, I'm going after the cream of the crop. I'm not going to go after just the casual thing. Right now, I'm speaking to casual friends. That's what I view you guys as, and I appreciate you guys that are still listening to this. But if I go after this, I'm going to go after the cash of the crop money, so for myself, and to bring it to the athletes, and to bring it to the viewers. I want to make sure this whole thing goes around to everybody. When I like to build stuff, I want to build it for everybody. If you're going to pay me some money, like those people that pay that high ass money to me, relatively speaking, they got to be making some money. They got to be getting something out of it. If you're going to pay me, even at my other group, $30 a month, you need to be getting some value out of that. So that's what we want to give here. So what do you guys think about that are still here? Because right now, it's only so much. And I got to be honest. Part of the reason why I kind of went away and stepped away, one of it was some guy trolling me saying, hey, I bet you if you stop doing this, you wouldn't get money. And I kind of listened to him. I let a hater have me nuke my own channel. And then after that, I just kind of didn't want to come back to it in a more serious sense, because these meets, you know, when I was bringing the meets to you guys and bringing that to you to tell you what the next meet is going, I went through a headache and a half to try to find this meet and that meet and this meet and that meet. And it's only gotten more confusing. But it's gotten more confusing, to be fair. World Athletics is trying to throw stuff at the wall because they are going to lose this young generation. Generation Z, they ain't really caring about this track and field like that. If they're not bringing anybody like that in, no allows is an entertaining factor in track and field. If there is a league that you could sign somebody, you can see somebody consistently, you can force them to show up like a LeBron James versus Steph Curry, and they said, hey, I want to rest my athlete for this game, and the fans are like, no, they need to go out for this NBA playoffs or championships. Hey, we need to see them. Hey, now some of your sponsors are saying, hey, they need to be seen. Yeah, they got some niggles or whatever, but they need to be seen. They need to be on that track. They need to go out there and compete. They need to do something like that. Let's see them. Nobody's trying to pay for a meet, and then Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone is sitting in the stands. And they thought she was going to compete, and she's like waving at them. Usain Bolt sitting in the stands, and they thought they were going to wave. Yeah, like that's entertaining, but you want to see the athletes come out and compete. And so that's what we're looking for. So that's what I got to say about this. If the channel gets big enough again, and I am here consistently posting again like that, where some World Athletics people are listening to it yet again, and NBC and other people are listening to it, fantastic. I hope that they take some of the ideas and actually apply them, because it needs to be a different league so that we can have these athletes actually consistent right there. Because Diamond League is a world tour. How about you have a local league so that when you go to Diamond League, it's not basically, oh, here's all the Nike athletes, or here's all the American athletes, and we're not going to promote the Jamaican athletes. You know, Shelly-Ann, Fraser-Pryce, Elaine Thompson-Herod, who just won the Olympics. We're not going to promote her back in 2021. We're just going to be completely dead-ass silent, even though we sponsor these athletes. We're not going to promote them. We're not going to talk about them. We're going to talk about Sha'Carri, which then happened to be last in that race. We're going to talk about her to hype her up because, you know, we're homegrown USA. And so my friend was talking about that, and this is the last topic, I promise, guys. My friend was talking about that, and he said, well, you know, Nike is not Jamaican. And I was like, that's dumb. Nike sells in Jamaica, right? And these companies selling different things. Do you want a Chinese company to come to the U.S.? Do you want, do you want Adidas to come to the U.S. and say, you know what? We're not going to promote Noah Lyles because, you know, he's American. We got our meet in Europe, in Germany, but we're not going to promote him because, you know, he's American. We got our local athletes. It's one thing you promote your local athletes a little bit more. Okay, cool. That's fine. But not promoting them at all. Like, everybody can get away with, like, hey, look, you're going to promote your local athlete a little bit more. Nah, that was something different. That's not a USA or Jamaica thing. Jamaica's so close there. And then you got some legends. This is able to build hype in track and field. You could have literally, if you wanted to do that, had Prefontaine back in 2021 been a USA versus Jamaica thing. You could have had the rivalry reignite and had even more viewers, more money made. But no, it's enough money for Nike to scrape off top, or Trike in this case, to scrape off top, build up their own athlete, but then the sport is used like a cheap hooker and thrown to the side. That's what's happening right now. So I'm going to let you guys go. Thank you guys for checking out this channel once again. Like I said, I got to build up the trust with you guys, and I'm going to be posting a little bit more often. I cannot guarantee that I am going to be posting as much as I was in the past, but I definitely will do at least a video a week on some topic and related to track and field and the sport at large. So thank you guys for coming out. I appreciate everybody that's been here. Leave a comment, like, and share this video with others so we can start building up some more momentum back to the channel. So this has been Head and Shoulders ATR, where we cover athletes, performances, and otherwise.